I'll bet those 9 felt awfully sorry for that missing one, don't you think? This was the moment. They had been waiting for this for years, having to live outside, waiting for that moment that they could go and show themselves to the priest, be restored, get back ordinary life, back to the life that had been pulled away from them. This was their chance. And he was missing it all. Oh, living as a leper was not a happy thing. It was the kid who sits alone in the lunchroom, except they're not allowed in the lunchroom or the building or the town or even to wear ordinary clothes. And it was so easy if you just developed a rash that looked like it might be something that goes beyond just the surface of the skin. And if the priest took a look at it and said, yep, that's it, out you went. You had to leave your clothes behind, leave your house. You couldn't even live in town. You had to gather and keep your distance and always cry out, unclean, unclean, unclean. For the good of everybody. You couldn't sleep in your bed. Couldn't live in your house. Couldn't live with your family. Could not even spend time with them because they did not dare. You had to huddle on the outskirts of town, snacking on whatever you could find there in the town dump. Make no mistake, every leper dreamt of that day when finally they could get back to normal. Get back to the life that had been pulled away from them. And so every time that their rash felt like it might have gotten a little better or maybe even just changed a little bit, off they would go. Quick, somebody call the priest, have him come out and take a look and see if maybe finally I can get back to my ordinary, normal life. See if I can get back to living. So it's no surprise that when Jesus was coming to town, that the rumors about him would have gotten even out to the leper camp outside of town. Even out to that squatter's town, the words about Jesus came. Prophet, teacher, healer. And so of course, the lepers living out there, the 10 of them, would make their plans, and they'd make the long trip all the way around town to get to the other side where the road into town was. There he would be coming, and they were ready. They had a plan, and as they saw him coming, they kept their distance, just as they're supposed to. They did everything right, and from that distance, raising their voices, hollering in hope, Jesus, Master, have mercy on me, raising their voice and calling out in hope, because nobody ever got infected from a raised voice, right? Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. And then, miracle of all miracles, Jesus saw them. Nobody saw them. Everybody's eyes slid right past as they would go around with calling out, unclean, unclean. Nobody ever saw them. Jesus saw them. And he sent them not with disgust as though to send them away, not with pity as though to give them something, but with regard, as though he saw them not with anger, but as though they were people. He said, go show yourselves to the priest. Well, they knew the way. So many times they'd hoped, so many times they'd been praying this would be the moment. All 10 of them turned, but only 9 showed up. One of them missing. They went to the back to this ordinary life, the priest looking and saying, yes. And he was missing. He missed it all. It took 8 days to get back to ordinary life. You had to wash yourself 3 times and shave a couple. You even had to shave your eyebrows. Who shaves their eyebrows? But this was part of getting back to ordinary life, washing everything, bathing, and then a worship service, an offering to say I'm sorry to God for whatever I have done, and for anybody I may have done something to because of this terrible condition. 8 days and he missed it all. 9 of them going through this together, here on the verge of ordinary life, to getting back what had been taken from them. Didn't he want that? Didn't he want normal? Didn't he want to get back to ordinary? Well, there are a lot of voices out there that want to tell us what ordinary is. Have you noticed that? There are a lot of things that gather around us in our culture that offer, they push, they sell, they scream at us in bright red flyers in our mailboxes about, they want to browbeat us and force feed us. This is ordinary. This is life. That it is necessary to live that Black Friday start at noon on Thursday. That is ordinary life, they say. That shopping countdowns that start 6 months before are necessary. And that if somebody can't buy a Christmas tree in July, their life is over. Ordinary life. That power over others is the only admirable thing. That is ordinary life. That to walk around in a towel before a coworker, to grab someone against their will, to pressure a child into something they should not have to do, that is admirable and necessary, that is ordinary life. There are a lot of voices that want to sell us ordinary. But we know better, don't we? We know better than that, don't we? That's not life. That's just ordinary. And here in this place, we've had a little taste of something better, haven't we? Because when that 10th leper turns back, when he notices what God has done and turns around, he is choosing extraordinary. He is choosing God, and that is what that means, to turn ourselves around, to see God in hindsight. That's what in the church we call repentance. And when he comes back to Jesus and falls before him in worship, he is choosing discipleship rather than self-help, because he knows he has tasted something better. Because that's what worship means and what it does to us. And when there on his knees before Jesus, he says, thanks. When he says to Jesus, thank you, he is discovering that the gifts of God, the gifts that really matter, are only that, a gift given in love that you cannot possibly earn. And absolutely do not have to. To give thanks turns us away from ordinary, doesn't it? And it turns us to the one in our lives that we have discovered who is extraordinary. The only one who offers life and isn't just selling something. That's what Jesus means when he says to him there at the end of our gospel, your faith has saved you. Your faith has rescued you. Your faith has set you free. Your faith has given you life. Your faith. Your faith has given you life. So I'll bet those 9 were awfully worried about the one. They probably felt sorry for him, don't you think? That poor, misguided fool who had given up his chance to have ordinary life. That poor, misguided one that was missing it. This one chance to get back to normal. What a foolish one he was to go back to Jesus, to choose gratitude, to choose extraordinary, to choose life, to choose instead of ordinary life. Well, I'll bet they felt awfully sorry for him, because what a foolish thing to do. What a foolish choice to make. To give thanks. To worship. To choose life.